Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. This is Radio Free Mormon on the air, broadcasting behind enemy lines. Tonight's episode: did the LDS Church lie in its Tim Ballard statement? That is the question that's being raised today and talked about across the bloggernacle. I want to go through the basic components of this because I find them quite interesting. The Tim Ballard saga is a massive news story. It has tentacles everywhere. It has a lot of moving pieces. And up until recently, one of the moving pieces that has not received the attention it deserves is a video from a man named Russell Brunson, a multi-millionaire, a young man who made a video on Facebook. And apparently it was made on September 16th, the day after the church issued its denunciation statement of Tim Ballard, the day before on Friday, September 15th. So we're going to look at this a little bit today. First off, we have to review the statement itself because Mr. Brunson is absolutely convinced that this statement is a fake. It's a total fake. And here is the statement itself, if I can find it and bring it up here on the screen. There is the statement itself. Let me read it to you. It's a little bit small on the screen. Okay, so here's the statement word for word as published in Vice News. In response to a detailed request for comment on these matters, a spokesperson for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints sent a statement which reads, in full, President Ballard and Tim Ballard, no relation, established a friendship a number of years ago. That friendship was built on a shared interest in looking after God's children wherever they are and without regard to their circumstance. However, that relationship is in the past. For many months, President Ballard has had no contact with the founder of Operation Underground Railroad, OUR, i.e. Tim Ballard. The nature of that relationship was always in support of vulnerable children being abused, trafficked, and otherwise neglected. Once it became clear Tim Ballard had betrayed their friendship through the unauthorized use of President Ballard's name. Now that's going to be key. Through the unauthorized use of President Ballard's name for Tim Ballard's personal advantage and activity regarded as morally unacceptable, President Ballard withdrew his association. President Ballard never authorized his name or the name of the church to be used for Tim's personal or financial interests. In addition, this is the second piece. In addition, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints never endorsed, supported, or represented OUR, Tim Ballard, or any projects associated with them. So the first part has to do with the relationship that Tim Ballard has with M. Russell Ballard. And the second part has to do with the claim that the church never endorsed, supported, or represented OUR, Tim Ballard, or any projects associated with them. Now, Mr. Brunson, Russell Brunson, who is a multimillionaire, he's a young fellow, he's a really smart guy, he's a whiz kid, and he's made a lot of money. He was contacted directly by Elder Ballard and asked to contribute and donate and support Tim Ballard and Operation Underground Railroad. So what's going on here is that he did so, and then he was involved with Tim Ballard, he was involved with Elder Ballard, he was involved with meetings that both of them had together. So he knows a number of things in this statement are flat not true. The first thing is he knows that they have a close relationship, Tim Ballard and Elder Ballard. He knows that Tim Ballard is not using Elder Ballard's name to further his business. Instead, it's exactly the opposite. Elder Ballard calls people like Russell Brunson and asks them to contact Tim Ballard and donate to OUR. Prior to this, Russell Brunson, prior to being called by Elder Ballard, Russell Brunson had no idea who Tim Ballard was or what OUR was. But being a dutiful, faithful Mormon, he did as he was directed when he was contacted by the acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, i.e. M. Russell Ballard, and told to do so. He did so. So he knows this isn't true. He also knows that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints did endorse, support, and represent OUR, Tim Ballard, and projects associated with them because the acting president of the Quorum of the 12 contacted him personally and asked him to do so. And I'm sure he's not the only one, but he can only speak from his experience. So what happens then is that after the statement is released, the very following day on September 16th, 2023, Russell Brunson, who's very close now by this point with Tim Ballard, probably very close with Russell Ballard as well. He knows this isn't true. He knows it from his personal experience, and he knows it because of these things in it, which he knows are not true. And so he goes on Facebook and he issues a statement that this is not true. And because it's not true, Russell Brunson's mind says, then it must be a rogue person in the church. The actual church, the actual Elder Ballard would not have issued this because it contains lies. So therefore, it must not be from the church. The one thing that never occurred to Russell Brunson was that it could both be from the church and it still could be full of lies. That's the thing that he never considers. He never allows his mind to go there. So from his point of view, the fact he knows this is full of lies proves that it's not really from the church, but it's from a rogue operator in the church. All right, now having said that, let's go to his Facebook page. And let's see here if we can bring this up as well. So let's play this and see what Russell Brunson has to say. And notice how he says this. It's very clear what he's saying. He knows this is fake because of the lies it contains in it, and the fact that he knows they're lies because he lived it. He knows this is not true. Here we go.
Hey, my name is Russell Brunson, for those who don't know me. And I make this video to talk about Tim Ballard. A lot of you guys know that he's someone who we have been supporting for the last few years. Some of you guys probably saw the new movie, Sound of Freedom, so you know a little about the story. This weekend, there's a bunch of new press coming out about Tim Ballard, people attacking him, his character, and just a whole bunch of stuff. And I've got a lot of you guys who are my friends, people who have been donating with me to OUR, wanting to know my opinion, what's happening. And so I wanted to make an official video to let you guys know my thoughts. And I'm making this video as somebody who doesn't just have like third-hand knowledge or read an article about an article about an article, someone who I've been involved with it, with him and with the group for a long, long time. So the most recent article that came out was basically saying that the Mormon Church was against Tim Ballard and this whole huge thing, and it's this big scandal. And it's interesting because the way that I found out about Tim Ballard and Operation Underground Railroad was actually from Elder Ballard. He personally called me and asked me to help Tim Ballard in Operation Underground Railroad. I have literally sat in the rooms with Elder Ballard and Tim Ballard as we discussed these things and these ideas. And so I want to start with, again, these are not my stories to tell, but just to let you know that the accusations that they're being made on the media are not true.
You see, Russell Brunson knows that the accusations in the media, i.e. the church statement that was released to Vice News, is not true because he knows that they have a very, very close relationship. And he's been present in the rooms with them when they've been discussing these things.
As someone who was literally in the room when these conversations were happening. So that's number one. I wish I could go into a lot of detail, but they're not my stories to tell, but I was there for many of them. Number two, those who don't know me also, I am a marketer. I built a large company buying ads on the internet. I know how media works. I know how to get people to click on ads. We spend anywhere between $1 million to $2 million per month, every single month on ads. And this is a book, some of you may have heard it. It's called Trust Me, I'm Lying, Confessions of a Media Manipulator. And if you read this book, this is a book that most good marketers have read. They understand how to manipulate the media to get them to say what you need them to say. Really good book, by the way.
And now what he's going to say is that what's going on with this rogue operator who released this fake statement that's full of lies that apparently is from the church. We know now it's from the church. By the way, I'm recording this on November 8th, 2023. And believe it or not, this video that Russell Brunson released on September 16th is still up. I'm playing it live from his channel. All right. And he's talking about this book and how it is that manipulating the media, this statement that's full of lies, is doing exactly what this book says to do in order to smear Tim Ballard with false statements going on.
The marketing friends out there is one of the best. But for those who are like sitting there watching the TV and you're freaking out, like, oh my gosh, Tim Ballard's a bad person. Oh my gosh, OUR is not good. Oh my gosh, and you're freaking out about these things because you don't understand how you're being manipulated. And I want to kind of bring this to the forelight so you guys are fully aware of how these things work, right? Like when I first got involved with OUR and with Tim Ballard, I was warned by multiple people, including Tim and Elder Ballard, like, if you decide to go down this path, the gates of hell are going to begin open up, and like people will be attacking you. You'll be like, if they warned me for that, knowing that if I was going to go step and help in them with these things, that was going to happen to me personally.
He said this very quickly. So let's recap. Not only Tim Ballard told Russell Brunson that if he goes down this road and helps with OUR, that the gates of hell are going to open and come after him and he's going to be attacked. He said Elder Ballard told him that as well. Both Elder Ballard and Tim Ballard told Russell Brunson, according to Russell Brunson, that he was going to experience severe opposition if he helped Tim Ballard because it's such a righteous cause that the devil's going to hate anybody who helps it and is going to come after them.
And if it's happening to me and if I've been attacked because of it, imagine how much worse it is for Tim. Like when he finds somebody who's doing human trafficking, somebody who is a legitimately horrible human being, right? He finds this person, arrests them, or is about to arrest them, is building a case against them. He's got like the ability to stop somebody who's doing the most evil things on this planet, right? Now, what's that person going to do? They're not just going to lay over and like, oh, fine, take me, right? That person is going to come back and they have to attack the character of the person who's attacking them. Like if you look at like how to get uncanceled, like the whole playbook teaches you how to get uncanceled. It's like you have to attack the character of the person who's trying to cancel you. Like, that's it. That's the playbook, okay?
Now, I want to make clear that the hard edit at the beginning of that part of the clip was not mine. That was Russell Brunson's edit. That's the way it appears on his Facebook page. And what he's doing is he's developing this theory that, of course, there are people who want to get Tim Ballard. And those are the people who are, of course, the child traffickers or the people who are aligned with the child traffickers. So these are the people who are behind this fake statement from the church on September 15th, full of lies, denouncing Tim Ballard.
Come back to media manipulation 101. Like the way you attack somebody who's attacking you is you have to fight their character. So you come out and you have the deepest, darkest, most evil people who are literally making tens of millions of dollars through human trafficking. Tim is finding these people, arresting them, getting them on trial, these kind of things. It's not that expensive to hire a good PR firm for 50 grand to go and build a campaign, to go and smear the character of the person. Like that's the reality of what's happening. I just want you guys to be fully aware of it. And so,
you see, that is the reality of what's happening. He knows that that's what's happening because he's read this book, because it makes sense to him, and because primarily he knows that there are lies in this church statement. That's why he doesn't believe it's from the church. That's why he knows it's a rogue operator in the church, and that's why he knows it's a rogue operator who is in sympathy with the child traffickers to get Tim Ballard.
When this, you look at somebody that like Tim, like when he's stepping out there into this battlefield for me and for you and for us and for these children, like that's who he's fighting against. And so it's not difficult for them to go and manipulate the media. Like anybody can do it. If you spend $20 on this book and read it, like you could do the exact same thing as well. So don't think it's like, oh, that's not really happening in this world. It is. It's happening every single day. It's happening to you. Okay.
All right. So it's happening all over the place. So you should not be surprised when it's happening inside the LDS Church, this media manipulation strategy.
That's one of the keys I want you to understand is like by him going and doing this, like these are the people that are attacking back. These are the people that are feeding these lies to the news, the media, that you're then taking at face value like, oh, this is a bad thing. No, it's not true. Back in the day, if you read how journalism used to work back in the day, journalists had integrity. They'd go and they try to figure out the truth and they'd fight to get the best story. And then because there's only 4 or 5 TV stations and news places, they would go and they'd get the thing, and the person with the best document thing would win.
Now, once again, that hard edit, that second hard edit was not mine. It was Russell Brunson's. He did that edit. I'm playing everything that he put up on Facebook. It's 7 minutes and 54 seconds long. Now he's going to talk about how journalists today have no integrity. They're rushing to be the first to get to the story, and they don't really care that much about whether the story is true, but whether it will sell. Once again, developing his theory as to why it is that a rogue operator in the church released this statement, and it is not, repeat, not an official statement of the LDS Church. The strange thing is that as of today's date, November 8th, 2023, I think it's very clear to everybody that this was an official church statement. The church has not come out and said, yes, it was an official church statement. but it was given to the Vice News. It was given to other media outlets, including the Salt Lake Tribune. So everybody got the same statement. The church has not said in almost 2 months now that, no, this was a fake statement, which they would have said the following day if indeed it were a fake statement. This is a church statement. And this is a young man trying to grapple with a statement from the church that says things that he knows are not true.
Right? The last 20 years has changed all that. Ever since media has become a thing where anybody controls media, every blogger, every social media, every influencer gets it. Ever since then, media has been so easy to manipulate because whoever is the first person to crack a story gets the clicks, gets the ad revenue, gets the money. So it used to go from the top, like trusted news sources that would work its way down. Now it's the opposite, where you stumble something, you leak it out of the bottom. Everyone else jumps on it quickly because they want to get the clicks. That's how the advertising revenue is played. That's how the whole game is played. And so it's no longer based on like credibility and truth. It's based on who's going to get a controversial thing so they get their message out there the fastest.
So the church statement is a controversial thing meant to get the news out there the fastest, which was released by a rogue operator, according to Brunson, to Vice News so it could come out immediately and they could get the clicks regardless of whether it was true. The irony, of course, is that from this point of view, 2 months later, yeah, we know it was issued by the church. We know it is an official church statement. And we know that Russell Brunson is telling us that it's full of lies. That's the problem. That's the concern. That's the reason for this special episode of Radio Free Mormon. And that's why it is titled, Did the LDS Church Lie in its Tim Ballard Statement?
So you'll take somebody like Tim Ballard, who right now, a movie came out, Sound of Freedom. People are waking up and finally becoming aware of this thing that we've been fighting for 10 plus years, to help people understand like this thing is happening. This darkness, this evil is something you need to be aware of. You need to care about. You need to raise money. You need to donate. You need to help and try to be part of it, right? And over the last 3 or 4 months, like this has gotten huge. Like people are finally waking up and realizing like, oh my gosh, this whole thing is a problem. And so all they're doing is trying to attack the credibility. So they're taking Tim Ballard and like, okay, how do we attack his credibility? Like, oh, he's part of the Mormon Church, and there's these things like, let's try to figure out how we can spin a story between these two things. And they go out there and they find rogue employees, people who got fired, people like all sorts of things, and they get people to say stuff, and they mix it up, and boom, they leak it to the bottom and the top. Are like, this is a big story. This guy's on TV all over the place. He's all over the movies. Like, we can get a lot of clicks off. A lot of advertising dollars will come if we can leak the story quickly.
So now he's also putting into his theory the fact that the allegations against Tim Ballard, which he calls these things, he doesn't say what they are. We know what they are. We've been over them in detail in prior episodes of Radio Free Mormon, reading the witness statements and going over the lawsuits, plural now, against Tim Ballard. But he believes, look, it was just some disgruntled employees making these very, very specific, very damaging allegations against Tim Ballard of sexual harassment, sexual abuse, and even sexual harassment.
So instead of doing sound like good quality journalism and like figuring out the actual truth, they all instantly start sprouting out, start publishing all over the place. Again, if you want to see the playbook, how this game is played, it's called Trust Me, I'm Lying, Confessions of a Media Manipulator. This book will open your eyes to how it all works. And this is what's happening to you guys. So I want you all to be fully aware, those of you guys who are sitting at home, and especially if you're like someone who loves OUR, loves Tim Ballard, loves the mission, and like you saw Sound of Freedom, like I want to be part of this, and you're seeing these other things, just be fully aware he is being attacked from the outside. This is not the truth. Okay, it is not the truth. Again,
see, this statement is not the truth. He's being attacked from the outside. It cannot get into his mind, at least as of the time that Russell Brunson made this video on September 16th. He cannot allow for the possibility that the church did release this statement and it contains lies, and he knows they're lies. He's so firm in his conviction that the church is true and the church would never lie in an official church statement, and certainly not about Tim Ballard of all people. It has to be a rogue operator, and that's why it's full of lies.
And this comes from someone who literally, I've been in the rooms with him and Elder Ballard talking about these things. Okay, I've been in the rooms. Elder Ballard is one who introduced me. Tim never came to me and told me some big story about Elder Ballard, and I tried to get me in. It was the opposite way around. Okay, so fully you need to understand this is the way it's actually working. This is the actual truth.
Okay, so here's the point he's making. The point he's making is that when the statement says that excoriating Tim Ballard for using Russell Ballard, Elder Ballard's name, without authorization, what Russell Brunson said, no, that's not what happened. Tim Ballard isn't using Elder Ballard's name to raise money. Elder Ballard is the one who's calling Russell Brunson and telling him to donate to Tim Ballard and Underground Railroad. That's the way it works. It's not Tim Ballard using Elder Ballard's name. It's Elder Ballard initiating the call to this gentleman, Russell Brunson, and telling him he needs to donate. That's why he's saying that's not the way it works. It's completely backward. And that's another reason that he knows that this statement in the church statement is a lie, right? It wasn't Tim Ballard unauthorizedly using Elder Ballard's name. It's Elder Ballard who's initiating the whole process.
Not some rogue employee who got fired because they were bad at their job, lying between the teeth. Like, what literally the sources are, if you look at where they're getting the stuff. Like, it's ridiculous.
So once again, there he makes the reference to a rogue employee who's lying through their teeth.
Like, I understand the reality of it. I just wanted you guys to be aware of it as well, because you're being played. And it's important for you guys to understand that, because if you understand that, then you can stand inside the person who's literally out there in the front of all this, taking all these arrows for you and for me so we don't have to. Instead of us turning our back and like, oh, shoot some arrows too. Like, oh, good. Like, I want to distance myself. Like, it's not true. These are lies. And
you see, he knows that they're lies. He knows that these statements in the church statement are lies. And what he's telling us now, 2 months later, now that we know that this church statement really is an official church statement, he's telling us that the church lied in its statement about Tim Ballard.
the more you understand that, the more you understand that the man and the character that Tim Ballard is, the more important it is. So I want to make this video for him and for you, so you understand the truth, because this is the playbook they're using. It works good, but it's not true. So there you go. Hope that helps. Tim, we love you. Tim, we support you. Tim, I'm here for you. And for everybody else, I want to encourage you, instead of just believing what you see on the news, look behind the man, look behind the truth, look behind the works they're doing. By their fruits you shall know them. And there's no better man on the earth right now than Tim Ballard. So there you go. Appreciate you all. Thanks for listening.
And there is the complete video from Russell Brunson. He's obviously a Tim Ballard fan. By their fruits you shall know him. He's the best man on the face of the earth. These statements could not be true. He knows they're not true. He knows they're lies. And therefore, from his point of view, they have to be from a rogue agent in the church. This is not an official church statement, but it is an official church statement. And what he's telling us right now is that the church lied in its official statement about Tim Ballard. Now, this was picked up by ABC4, I think it was, ABC4 News in Utah, and it was published last night. Now, the funny thing about this story, and pay attention here if you can, ABC News, which is a Utah affiliate, ran this story, and it was up for about 4 hours, and then it took it down. It took their story down about this, and it hasn't been put up yet to my knowledge. So ABC News, the Utah affiliate, put this story up and then took it down. But during that 4 hours, before they took it down, it was picked up by other news services, including Yahoo News. So even though ABC News Utah took this down last night, it is still up at Yahoo News. So we can see exactly what it was. The story was that the ABC Utah affiliate put up. They're the ones who did the original research. This is their story. And now it gets picked up by other news agencies. It's got wheels. It's going places. And ABC Utah takes it down. That's weird. But here we go. Let me put this up on the screen. Here it is. And it's a little bit small, but I'm going to read through this, okay, with you. So the title is, the headline, ClickFunnels founder. That's Brunson, okay? That's Russell Brunson. He's the founder of the company called ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels founder claims LDS Church Elder Ballard set up meeting with Tim Ballard. This is by Heather W. Smith, Tuesday, November 7th at 4:50 p.m., which was yesterday, late afternoon. There's a nice picture of Tim Ballard. It says under that, this is a developing story. ABC4.com will update this post as more information becomes available. See, this whole thing is taken entirely from the ABC4.com Utah affiliate, including this is a developing story. ABC4.com will update this post as more information becomes available. That was in the ABC4 news story as well before it was deleted. This is an exact copy of the ABC4 news story that they took down, but that Yahoo News has up. So here we go. Salt Lake City, ABC4. See, that's the attribution. The co-founder of an Eagle, Idaho digital marketing firm, that's Russell Brunson, claimed in a social media video in September that a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints General Authority introduced him to former Operation Underground Railroad founder Tim Ballard for the purpose of discussing ways to help OUR, a claim that raises questions about the church's statement of having never endorsed or supported OUR or any projects associated with Tim Ballard. ClickFunnels head Russell Brunson took to social media on September 16th in defense of Tim Ballard, but also claimed that M. Russell Ballard, current acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, introduced him to Tim Ballard. No relation. The full video posted to Facebook and Instagram features Brunson addressing his followers, friends, and those who have, quote, been donating to OUR with me, unquote, about his thoughts on the, quote, recent negative media about Tim Ballard, period, end of quote. Of course, these quotes are taken from the video that we just watched. Going on. Brunson's video was made in response to reports of a September 15th statement from the LDS Church denouncing Tim Ballard, claiming the former OUR founder betrayed a friendship with M. Russell Ballard. The church called Tim Ballard's activity morally unacceptable. In the church's statement, it claimed the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints never endorsed, supported, or represented OUR, Tim Ballard, or any projects associated with them. Following the release of the church's statement in September, Tim Ballard and many of his supporters claimed it was fake, even with supporting documents and emails from numerous media outlets showing the statement had indeed been sent from church media representatives. And once again, we have ABC4 Daily News in the article. Brunson vehemently claimed in his video that the LDS statement was fake and had been obtained, in his opinion, from rogue employees of the church. Brunson has made no further statement on social media about the Tim Ballard situation, and he had not responded to requests for comment from abc4.com prior to this piece being published. So they reached out to him for a comment. No response. Brunson claimed that he knew the statement was fake because he had been in the room with both Ballards. Brunson claimed he was making this video as somebody who doesn't just have third-hand knowledge or who read an article about an article about an article, but as someone who has been involved with it, with him and the group for a long, long time. It's interesting, he says in the video. It's interesting because the way I found out about Tim Ballard in Operation Underground Railroad was actually from Elder Ballard, Brunson said. He personally called me and asked me to help Tim Ballard and Operation Underground Railroad. I have literally sat in the room with Elder Ballard and Tim Ballard as we discussed these things and these ideas. ABC4 has also asked the church to clarify its statement, saying it never endorsed or supported OUR or any projects associated with Tim Ballard, considering Brunson claimed the meeting was specifically for that purpose. We are waiting to hear back. Now, once again, that's the ABC Utah affiliate who requested a statement from the church explaining this strange seeming contradiction. And they are the ones who are waiting to hear back. And they are the ones who took their story down after publishing it about 4 hours or so. The article concludes, he further claimed, Russell Brunson, Tim Ballard, is being attacked from the outside. This is not the truth. Again, that is coming from someone who literally, I've been in the room with him and Elder Ballard talking about these things, okay? I've been in the rooms. Elder Ballard's the one that introduced me. Tim never came to me and told me some big story and tried to get me in. It was the opposite way around. Fully, you need to understand this is the way it actually worked. This is the actual truth. It's not Tim Ballard using Elder Ballard's name to make money or raise money. It's Elder Ballard contacting wealthy Mormons and telling them to contact Tim Ballard. Not some rogue employee who got fired because they were bad at their job. It says, fully, you need to understand this is the way it actually worked. This is the actual truth. Not some rogue employee who got fired because they were bad at their job, lying between their teeth. That's literally what the sources are if you look at where they're getting this stuff. It's ridiculous. I would probably depart from ABC's reporting of this by saying, I think that when Tim Brenson is talking about the rogue employees, he's not talking about a rogue employee in the church. He's talking about a rogue employee for OUR who made the allegations. But obviously, he thinks that something's up. Somehow, some way, this statement is not an official church statement, in his opinion, at least as of September 16th. And presumably today, since he's still got that video up on his YouTube channel. Brunson closed his video by reaffirming his support for Tim Ballard and the work of OUR. Okay. So there we have it. An individual named Russell Brunson, who only because he's convinced that this statement, the church statement, is not really from the church because it's full of lies. He knows it's not from the church because it's full of lies. And he knows they're lies because he has lived the experience. He's been in the room with these gentlemen. He knows the way this went down, and it did not go down the way the church said it did. The church statement is trying to distance Elder Ballard from Russell Ballard, and he's going, no, that's not the case. They were thick as thieves. They were like two peas in a pod, and I was there with them, and I'm telling you all about it. The irony is that this is a church statement, and what he's actually doing now is telling the world that the church, in its official statement, lied about the relationship between Elder Ballard and Tim Ballard, and lied about the relationship between the LDS Church and Tim Ballard, and saying that, yeah, of course it supported Tim Ballard. He knows it did. I mean, what says support like getting endorsements and phone calls from the acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles of the LDS Church, endorsing Tim Ballard and suggesting that you donate to him because it's such a good work, and then being in the room with both Ballards when they're discussing these things and knowing how tight they are. He knows that these are lies. And thanks to Russell Brunson, we know once again that the church has deceived not only its members, but also the entire world. Okay, well, that is about all for tonight. Until next time, this is Radio Free Mormon, signing off the air.